The sun rises over the Nile River, casting golden light across one of humanity's most enduring civilizations. From the enigmatic Sphinx to the towering pyramids, from the wealth of pharaohs to the conquest of empires, Egypt stands as a testament to human ingenuity, ambition, and resilience. But what made this desert kingdom so powerful? And how did the land of the pharaohs transform into the nation we know today? Join us as we uncover the complete story of Egypt, a tale spanning over 5,000 years of triumph, tragedy, and transformation. Around 5500 BCE, along the fertile banks of the Nile River, nomadic peoples began to settle and establish permanent agricultural communities. Life in Egypt has always depended on the Nile, this mighty river cutting through the harsh Sahara Desert, creating a narrow band of incredibly fertile land. The seasonal flooding of the Nile deposited rich silk that made agriculture possible, but maintaining this delicate balance required organization and cooperation. As settlements grew, trade flourished, social hierarchies emerged, and talented artisans and craftsmen appeared. By 3600 BCE, climate change was driving more people toward the Nile as surrounding areas became drier and hotter. This population pressure led to competition for resources, and three distinct kingdoms formed, each vying for control. The fate of Egypt hung in the balance as these kingdoms clashed. But one ruler would soon emerge to change everything. That ruler was King Narmer, who in approximately 2950 BCE unified the three kingdoms, creating the first true nation-state in recorded history. Under Narmer's leadership, Egypt developed its national identity, establishing a governmental system and creating the iconic symbols of royalty like the distinctive double crown. During this period, a sophisticated writing system emerged: hieroglyphics. Initially developed for commerce and record keeping, this writing system quickly became a way to immortalize rulers and their accomplishments, preserving their stories for eternity. The pharaohs of Egypt were far more than mere kings. They were living gods. Each ruler was viewed as the earthly embodiment of Horus, forming a direct connection between humankind and the divine realm. This divine status came with enormous responsibility, appeasing the gods and ensuring the prosperity of their subjects. Any disaster, drought, famine, or military defeat was interpreted as divine punishment for the pharaoh's failings. Only the priests rivaled the pharaoh's influence. These religious figures accumulated tremendous wealth through gifts from those seeking divine favor. Together, the pharaoh and priests maintained the social order and religious practices that defined Egyptian civilization for millennia. No discussion of ancient Egypt will be complete without mentioning its most impressive architectural achievements. The Great Pyramid at Giza, built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BCE, stands as the crowning achievement of Egyptian engineering. This massive structure, just one of 80 pyramids constructed throughout Egypt's history, continues to mystify modern engineers with its precision and scale. Equally captivating is the Great Sphinx, the colossal statue depicting a mythical creature with a human head and lion's body. Though often attributed to Pharaoh Khafra around 2494 BCE, some researchers theorize it may be much older. Throughout history, the shifting sands of the Sahara have repeatedly buried this enigmatic monument, requiring excavation to keep it visible, a physical metaphor for how Egypt's past continues to emerge from the sands of time. While the pyramids represent Egypt's early achievements, it was during the New Kingdom that Egypt truly reached its zenith of power and influence. The pharaohs of the New Kingdom wielded unprecedented power, extending Egypt's territories through military conquest while building ambitious monuments and developing diplomatic relations with neighboring nations. Pharaoh Thutmose III transformed Egypt into a formidable empire through decisive military victories, documented in detail at Karnak's Hall of Annals. One of the most controversial rulers of this period was Pharaoh Akhenaten, who attempted a radical religious revolution. Breaking with thousands of years of tradition, Akhenaten replaced Egypt's pantheon of gods with monotheistic worship of a single sun deity. This dramatic shift was deeply unpopular, and after his death, Egypt quickly returned to its traditional polytheistic practices. Statues and monuments to Akhenaten were destroyed, and his name was erased from official records, an attempt to erase his heretical ideas from history. Akhenaten's wife, the beautiful Queen Nefertiti, remains shrouded in mystery. Though little is known about her life, her likeness has been preserved in a stunning bust discovered in 1912, capturing the image of a woman often described as the most beautiful woman who ever lived. Following Akhenaten's death, his young son Tutankhamun, just 7 years old, inherited the throne. Though his reign was brief and relatively unimportant in Egyptian history, King Tut achieved worldwide fame when British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered his nearly intact tomb in 1922. The breathtaking treasures, ornate sarcophagus, and well-preserved mummy catapulted Tutankhamun to posthumous celebrity status, while rumors of a mummy's curse following the deaths of several expedition members added to the mystique. King Tut's tomb highlighted Egypt's unique funeral practices centered around preparation for the afterlife. Ancient Egyptians believed that preserving the physical body was essential for the soul's journey to the afterworld. They developed sophisticated embalming and mummification techniques, wrapping bodies in linen bandages and taking advantage of the dry desert climate to prevent decay. Egyptian tombs were filled with everything a person might need in the afterlife, from practical items to precious treasures. Pharaohs were sometimes buried with boats to transport them to the next world, and the tomb walls were covered with prayers and spells for protection. The elaborate security measures and hidden locations of royal tombs were designed to prevent grave robbery, though most were eventually plundered despite these precautions. As the power of the pharaohs began to wane, Egypt faced a new reality, one where foreign powers would determine its destiny for the next 2 millennia. By the later period of Egypt's ancient civilization, the once mighty kingdom had become deeply integrated into Mediterranean politics and commerce. Greek and Roman leaders regularly interacted with Egyptians, creating a cultural exchange that transformed Egyptian society. The most famous figure of this era was Cleopatra, daughter of Ptolemy XII, the ruler from the Macedonian dynasty established after Alexander the Great's conquest. When her father died, Cleopatra was married to her young brother Ptolemy XIII and served as the effective ruler until he came of age. Their power struggle was interrupted when Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria to negotiate peace. Caesar and Cleopatra became lovers, and she bore him a son. After Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra formed an alliance and romance with Mark Antony, having 3 children with him. Their relationship ended in tragedy, reminiscent of Shakespeare's most dramatic plays. When Cleopatra falsely reported her own death, the devastated Mark Antony attempted suicide. Learning too late that she still lived, he died in her arms. Heartbroken, Cleopatra chose death by ass bite rather than face capture by Octavian's forces. With Cleopatra's death in 30 BCE, independent Egypt came to an end. For the next 1,000 years, Egypt would be ruled by a succession of foreign powers. Under Roman rule, Egypt became the breadbasket of the empire. The fertile Nile Valley produced grain surpluses that fed the cities of the eastern Mediterranean, while Egyptian gold mines contributed to imperial coffers. Alexandria emerged as the empire's second most important city after Rome itself, a commercial and intellectual center where scholars like Claudius Ptolemy, Hero, and Hypatia made groundbreaking discoveries. Roman influence transformed Egyptian culture, particularly after the spread of Christianity. Egypt became an important center for early Christian movements, including monasticism, where devout followers renounced material possessions for lives of seclusion, prayer, and fasting. This practice became so popular that Roman authorities eventually sought to regulate it. Religious divisions also emerged during this period, with the split between the Roman Orthodox Church and the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria, divisions that continue to this day. In the 7th century CE, weakened by wars with the Sassanid Empire, Egypt fell to Arab Muslim forces. Under the First Arab Empire, Arabic became the official language, and Egypt was governed by appointed officials who imposed heavy taxation, leading to frequent revolts. The Abbasid Revolution brought more inclusive rule and greater provincial autonomy, ushering in a century-long golden age of cultural and scientific advancement. However, internal conflicts eventually weakened central authority, allowing regional governors to establish independent rule. For the first time since Cleopatra, Egypt gained true independence under the Ptolemaic dynasty. This brief period of self-rule saw massive infrastructure development and military expansion, before internal strife led to the reassertion of Abbasid control. The subsequent centuries saw rule by various dynasties, including the Fatimids, who established Cairo as their capital in 969 CE, and the Ayyubids under the legendary Saladin. Known for his chivalry and mercy, Saladin recaptured Jerusalem from Crusader forces and earned respect throughout both the Islamic and Christian worlds. The Mamluk Sultanate, formed by former slave soldiers, rose to power in the 13th century. Their greatest achievement was defeating the seemingly unstoppable Mongol Empire at the Battle of Ain Jalut in 1260, a pivotal moment that prevented the Mongols from advancing further into Africa and the Middle East. During this period, Cairo replaced Baghdad as the cultural and intellectual center of the Muslim world. Despite this promising beginning, Mamluk rule gradually declined due to corruption and excessive taxation. In 1516, the Ottoman Turks swiftly conquered the Mamluk Sultanate, incorporating Egypt into their expanding empire. Ottoman rule was mostly indirect, with power eventually reverting to the Mamluks as long as they maintained order and delivered tax revenues to Constantinople. During this period, Egypt's strategic importance declined as European sailing innovations allowed direct trade with India. By circumnavigating Africa, bypassing traditional Red Sea trade routes that had been vital to Egypt's economy, Egypt's path to modern nationhood began with one of history's strangest episodes, Napoleon Bonaparte's invasion in 1798. Napoleon's expedition, though brief, introduced modern European ideas and technology to Egypt. After the French withdrawal, power struggles between the Ottomans and Mamluks created a vacuum that Muhammad Ali, an Albanian mercenary, would fill. Popular with ordinary Egyptians for protecting civilians, Muhammad Ali was appointed governor by the Ottomans in response to public demand. Under Muhammad Ali's leadership, Egypt underwent rapid modernization, reorganizing the military, producing modern ships and firearms, establishing medical schools, and developing cotton as a cash crop. As the Ottoman Empire declined, Egypt expanded its regional influence. The construction of the Suez Canal in the 1860s highlighted Egypt's strategic importance once again. Financial troubles led Egypt to sell its shares in the canal to Britain, who later invaded to protect this vital waterway, beginning a period of British occupation that lasted until 1922. Independence brought the establishment of the Kingdom of Egypt, though true self-determination remained limited until the military coup of 1952. The republic that followed saw Egypt through periods of pan-Arab nationalism under President Gamal Abdel Nasser, warfare and eventual peace with Israel under Anwar Sadat, and 30 years of rule by Hosni Mubarak. The 2011 Arab Spring protests led to Mubarak's resignation, beginning a tumultuous period of political transition that continues to shape Egypt today. From the ancient pyramids to modern Cairo, Egypt's journey spans thousands of years of human civilization. This narrow strip of fertile land along the Nile has witnessed the rise and fall of pharaohs, the conquest of foreign powers, and the birth of a modern nation. Through it all, the resilience of its people and the enduring legacy of its achievements continue to fascinate the world. Egypt's story reminds us that while empires may rise and fall, the imprint of human ingenuity and cultural identity can endure for millennia. As the sun sets over the Nile, just as it has for thousands of years, we're reminded that Egypt's story is still being written, a living testament to one of humanity's most remarkable civilizations. Egypt's history is a breathtaking saga of human ambition, innovation, and endurance. From its humble beginnings along the Nile, ancient Egypt gave rise to monumental achievements in architecture, religion, and governance, shaping the foundations of civilization. Over millennia, it was unified by pharaohs, glorified through pyramids, challenged by foreign powers, and revitalized under Islamic and Ottoman rule. The rise of Cleopatra, the influence of Christianity, And the golden ages under dynasties like the Fatimids and Mamluks reflect a nation constantly adapting, yet holding fast to its identity. Even during colonization and the modern transformation under leaders like Muhammad Ali, Egypt remained at the cultural and geopolitical crossroads of the world. Today, Egypt stands not only as a modern nation, but also as a living museum of human history. Its past etched in stone and sand, its legacy inspiring generations to come. The story of Egypt is far from over. It continues to evolve. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for future updates.